Hello everyone. In this video I am going to show you how to adjust the settings on the print dialog box to make sure that your document is going to the Office printer and to set the paper size in the printer to make sure that it prints large. So the first thing you need to do is find a document that you want to print. This is something I designed at home using Adobe Illustrator, which is an expensive program that we don't have here. In a different video, I'll show you how to make your own document to print, but let's just say, for example, you have either a PDF file or something that you found on the internet that you just want to print large. I'm going to start with actually printing, and then we'll move on to how to design your own material afterwards. So find a document that you'd like to print, and then I'm just double clicking on it now. It's taking a moment to open up. So once you have your document open, you see I have this 12 by 18 large paint color wheel here. So just go to the print dialog. This is just opening as a preview, but if you opened it all the way up, you might need to go to File, Print, or something like that. But go to the print option, and again, wait for it to load. Which takes forever, apparently. Okay, and once Google Chrome or whatever your web, whatever your internet type, whatever, once that dialog box comes up, you have all of these standard options. So you have to choose the printer and all that kind of stuff. I'm defaulting here to the Konica, which is our brand new Office machine. You have all these options. You see that it came up as 12 by 18 because it must know that it's 12 by 18, but there are all these other options for the type of paper. 8.5 by 11 is a standard piece of printer paper, and that most likely is what it's going to be printing as. But even if it did come up like this, you wouldn't be able to use these settings as what is going to print out on the thicker paper. You need to set those things manually. So you're actually going to come down here to the print using system dialog. Again, I am in Chrome right now. This would look different if you were in Firefox or Internet Explorer or any other sort of browser. So go ahead and click on the print using system dialog, and this is going to give you a lot more options, as you can see. Starts out overwhelming, but the very first thing at the very top you need to look at is the printer itself. So mine defaults to the Artroom, and then this one I think was the old Office printer. This is the Hammond Media Center, and then this is the new Office printer. So make sure to select that to begin with. And then our goal here is to be able to create a preset here that will allow you to just choose these settings that you've saved, and that way the next time you want to print on 12 by 18 paper or 11 by 17 paper or something like that, you don't have to go through all these settings over and over and over again. Copies are what you would imagine. Pages, if you want to print the first page of 3 or 15 pages or whatever, you'd want to select that. I do have 3 pages within this this Adobe document, so I'm going to go ahead and select that option there. Here is the paper size. This is the most important thing. So if you scroll up, you'll see that there are already 12 by 18 and 11 by 17 options here. 11 by 17 is one of the standard paper sizes that Carol orders for us for the Office. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to make one that says 12 by 18. I don't know whether or not 12 by 18 always comes up. So if it doesn't come up, I'm going to show you how to create that option. But if it does come up, you can just go ahead and click it, and you know that you selected the paper size is 12 by 18. Suppose it didn't come up, then what you would do is you would scroll all the way down to the bottom of this list, go to Manage Custom Sizes, and you're actually going to need to make a size like these. You see how I have 2 here already? It's because I've already printed on this computer onto things that were either 9 by 12 or 12 by 18. But suppose you need to make your own, go ahead and click the plus sign, and then you're going to change your paper size. Now you want the width to be the short side if you were printing it out as portrait, so in this case it would be 12, and then the height of it would be 18. You can certainly print things out landscape if you want to. That's a different option in here. And in worst case scenario, if you did do it backwards, you would just notice that it was printing out incorrectly, and you could go either back here to change whether it's the 12 width or the 12 height, or you can just change it between landscape and portrait within other things. I probably wouldn't mess with this too much. I think depending on the type of printer, you might need to give a border in order to know what the printable area is. It's a safe bet to assume that it can print at least a quarter of an inch too close to the edge on each side. I know that it has in my experience, so I would change all of these to be 0.25 inches and then go ahead and click OK. So this actually saved it as an untitled document. So maybe what we want to go back here is edit this to say 12 by 18. That's what I would say. And I'll, for the purpose of this, delete this old one. So now we have one that's 12 by 18 and one that's 8 by 12 or 9 by 12. And again, these options now are located down here in the custom sizes. So choose the 12 by 18. And now we know that we are printing to the office printer. We want one copy of page 1 at 12 by 18. And again, here are the portrait and landscape options, depending on whether you want to be printing landscape or portrait. For this document, it needs to be portrait. So in terms of layout, looks like we want one page per sheet. This would be options in case you wanted to like scale down, so you had 2 images on each one. We're going to leave it at 1 here. We don't need a border. Two-sided is actually not even an option, it seems. In color matching, we're talking about all kinds of things that are not necessary here. We're also talking about paper handling, pages to print. We want to print all the pages, and we want to print them in order. This is an option. Say, for example, you were printing, say you found a document online that was formatted to be an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, but you wanted to enlarge it so that it was 12 by 18. This would be an option that you would click and then make sure that you select the 12 by 18, because if not, what you're going to have is a tiny image printed on a big piece of paper with a lot of extra space. But because I've actually got here a document that is formatted for 12 by 18 already, I don't need to select that option. Don't need a cover page, don't worry about scheduler. Output method, let's see what's in here. So this would be a thing if you were printing out multiple pieces of paper within the same document, but you wanted to offset every other page or something like that, you could select that. Collating is similar, but since I'm only printing one piece of paper, it's not a necessary thing. I am printing this. This is not, the other things are things that are more for commercial kind of printing, so don't worry about that over here. Here's another good place to double check what you're doing. I'm taking a 12 by 18 setup document and printing it onto 12 by 18 piece of paper. If neither one of these things say 12 by 18, you're for sure not doing it correctly. Go to the layout and finish. This is again the option where I could print it out double-sided. I do want to print it out single-sided, so it's a good thing that I checked that. I'm not binding it, I'm not stapling it. Poster mode is something completely different. While it might seem like you are printing a poster, what this does is it would take say you wanted to print out a 6-foot by 12-foot giant poster, you could print it on individual pieces of paper. If this is something you're really interested in, go ahead and ask me about it at a later time, but you do want this to be off for what we're doing today. Finishing, that's stapling and folding and punching and all that stuff. We don't need any of that stuff, so go ahead and get out of the layout thing. Paper tray, this is an important thing. This is what is going to allow you to print on the thicker paper, the drawing paper. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's coming from the bypass tray. And we'll go over where that is when we actually will go into the office and go to the printer. You want to make sure that it goes through the bypass tray. Now, my computer seems to be defaulting at thick 4, which is actually the thickness of the type of paper that we're using. This is something you have to sort of like, there's actually something in the office that explains what each of the levels of thickness are. I don't believe that the first time you do this, it allows you to do thick paper. So you actually have to go into this dialog box, and you need to choose from the bypass tray which type of paper you want. And thick 1 I think is about plain paper. Thick 2 is a little bit heavier. Thick 3 is like 50-pound paper. You guys are using 70-pound paper, so go ahead and click thick 4 and save it. That's how you'll get this defaulted to thick 4. And the output tray, this would be if for some reason you didn't want it to come out on the top shelf on the left-hand side, you wanted it to come out on the bottom shelf, you could select that stuff, but I don't think it's necessary right now. Once you have that, it looks like these things are not necessary for what we're doing. Don't worry about any of this stuff. I mean, it's always good to click through all this stuff, but it doesn't look like we need any of this stuff. If you really needed to make sure that it printed out high resolution, you could select that high quality, but it's going to really make everything take way longer, so I wouldn't recommend it. And again, if you're printing out photographs, but it's not coming out as high quality as you want it to be, you could always select that as well, but I've never had a problem with it. So once you've selected all of those things, you could go ahead and press print, but all of that work that we just did, selecting all of these options in the drop-down menu, we want to be able to save that as an option for you to use again in the future. So this is when we go up to the presets and we want to save as. And what this will do is the next time you want to print it out, all you have to do is remind yourself. So maybe you say poster mode or something like that. Maybe you say 12 by 18 to distinguish it in case you wanted to print out on 11 by 17 as well later on. And I would say only for this printer because I don't think that any of the other printers in the building even print this large. So once you've saved your preset, say OK, and then in the future, all you would need to do is select the Konica printer and then go to presets and then select here. You'll see that I actually have one that's saved that does the exact same thing that I named differently. You would select this preset and then you could just hit print and it would work. So with all of this work figured out, you press print and it will transfer to the follow me printing in the Konica printer, which we'll go over in the tutorial actually in the workroom. Thank you.